There comes a point where it's not possible to avoid an issue any longer. And I want to examine the intensifying media battle facing Prince Harry. At its heart is a grimly familiar pattern: an embattled Duke of Sussex pursuing legal and public fights against what he sees as a predatory press, while lurid new rumours swirl about the most intimate details of his family, this time about the very legitimacy of his children's place in the line of succession and the deceit that has been practiced in order to in order to keep them in the line of succession. These two things are not separate. They're part of the same war of disinformation, of distrust and reputational destruction that has come to define the media attacks on Harry's adult life and indeed the modern British monarchy's relationship with its people. So, beginning first of all with the current legal front, Harry has been unrelenting in suing British tabloids over historic phone hacking, accusing papers of criminality and cover up. And I think he's exposed and identified stuff that to me seems entirely legitimate and entirely correct. His allegations seem to me to be well founded. Even if maybe the timing is wrong, even if maybe some of the details are difficult to pinpoint. In his recent ITV interview, for example, he frames himself as a David facing Goliath, a rich, sprawling media enterprise with no ethics. And the phone tapping thing is squalid. And if at any point anyone involved in the phone tapping thought that was a moral approach to news gathering, then they need their head screwing on. And I know some of these people. I thought they were fairly squalid in the past. I think they're beneath contempt now. And I can't see how they can possibly defend themselves. They could say, oh, well, I didn't know this was going on, which is the Piers Morgan approach. Or they could say, oh, well, it's what everyone was doing, which is the other approach. I'm not even going to credit to anyone. And it's, as I say, I think it's squalid. I think it's utterly squalid. And he points to his mother's treatment by the press as the moral impetus for these battles. And he's absolutely right that Diana was hounded and dehumanized, and he's right that elements of the British press have committed serious breaches of privacy and decency. And Harry's critics are, of course, they see the hypocrisy. They argue he courts publicity when it suits him. He trades on his mother's memory for emotional leverage and deploys the same manipulative techniques that he condemns. And the truth is less neat. Harry is both victim and participant in the same game. He has legitimate grievances, and anyone who dismisses them entirely has forgotten his proven phone hacking crimes of Fleet Street. But his manner of fighting, accusing family members publicly, litigating constantly, feeding the very media machine he denounces, makes his stance morally ambiguous at best. And now this combustible mix comes with a new and even more poisonous controversy, which has been brewing away for some years. On social media, viral posts have revived the claim that Meghan Markle's pregnancies were faked, that Archie and Lilibet were born via an undisclosed surrogate, and more explosively that there's a woman now claiming to be the biological mother of the Sussex children. These allegations are radioactive. They go far beyond ordinary celebrity gossip. They strike at the legal and constitutional core of the British monarchy. Why? Because succession depends on clear, lawful descent. And under current conventions, the child of a surrogate doesn't automatically acquire royal succession rights unless the birth and parentage are properly registered, transparent, and legally managed. If, and this is a big if, Harry and Meghan knowingly concealed a surrogacy arrangement, or worse, misrepresented the biological parentage of their children, it would not just be a personal scandal, it would be a constitutional crisis. And that's why, in many ways, I'm prepared to dismiss the speculation. But it doesn't stop it being out there. Of course, at this stage, we can be quite confident in saying the claims are precisely that, just claims. They haven't been proven in court. They rely on an unnamed woman's supposed receipts, which haven't been properly scrutinized. The monarchy cannot and shouldn't respond to every lurid internet theory. But what makes this especially dangerous is that it feeds into a broader crisis of trust. Harry and Meghan have spent years controlling their own narrative, often opaquely. They've attacked the press for printing falsehoods, yet have given selective, sometimes contradictory accounts of their own lives. And the public remembers inconsistencies from when they said they married in secret before the royal wedding, to the disputed claims of racism, to privacy lawsuits even before they signed multi-million-dollar media deals. This opacity is now their greatest liability, just as the bedpan issues in the 16th, 17th century almost brought down the monarchy. The very refusal to clarify fuels suspicion. The monarchy's ancient mystique is its selling point, but it's also its Achilles heel in a world addicted to receipts, screenshots, and viral exposés. And as I say, this is nothing new. The bedpan, this is a modern bedpan story. Moreover, Harry's legal and moral campaign against the press ironically makes the surrogacy rumour far more combustible. He demands unprecedented accountability from newspapers for their sins, while social media explodes with unverified accusations that make Fleet Street look like a parish newsletter. The result is ugly. It's an asymmetric war. And the Sussexes sue traditional publishers while ignoring the chaos on TikTok and Reddit. They say the tabloids lie, but they refuse to provide basic clarifications about their children's birth circumstances. Well, in a way, why should they? Except that the questions are out there and the answers are hanging. Something most royals have done with transparency for centuries, appearing on doorsteps holding babies. And so the surrogacy rumour spreads. And this episode also shows how the monarchy's claim to constitutional relevance collides with modern privacy expectations. On the one hand, the birth of a royal child is not a purely private matter. It is literally a state event. And the line of succession has national implications. On the other, no one wants to live in a country that forcibly polices a woman's personal space to satisfy constitutional lawyers and tabloid readers. It's a dilemma with no easy solution. And Harry's personal crusade is taking on an ever more personal tone. He seems haunted by his mother's death. He says the press killed her. He sees phone hacking as part of that pattern of abuse. I think he's right. His rage is understandable, but rage is not strategy. And then you've got Lady... what's her name? Lady C. Lady C. Again, another venomous media hack who's just desperate to peddle whatever gossip she can. And in the end, Harry has a point about the media's historic aggression against Diana, against him, against Meghan. But that valid point doesn't excuse the Sussexes' own manipulation of the media, their evasion, their readiness to monetize victimhood while decrying it, and nor does it make the monarchy safe from those swirling, corrosive rumours. The royal family survives on public trust in a line of succession, and that trust is under attack, from within and from without. And if the Sussexes want to silence these rumours, and they should, there's only one sure way, and that's transparency, the same transparency they demand of the press. Until then, the battle will go on, the accusations will grow wilder, and the monarchy's stability will remain that little bit more fragile because of this.